Now, sometimes there can be competing motives. So there might be a sign stimulus that's related to perhaps fighting or some kind of defensive response. At the same time that there might be a sign stimulus present that could motivate a different kind of reaction. So maybe play or maybe some kind of sexual response. What happens when there are competing motives and it's triggering maybe more than one instinctive reaction in an animal? The reading had this example of a male stickleback fish where it might build a nest when it's between its own territory and another male's territory. And you can think of like, wait, what are the two competing motives here? What would it normally do if another male shows up in his territory? Well, he would fight, right? That would be normally what we would do. But should he be afraid if he's the one in another male's territory? Probably, right? So the male defending his territory is the one who has more at stake and should fight more vigorously. And so if he's in an area that's sort of in between his territory and another male's territory, he's sort of experiencing these two competing motives. Yes, I want to go fight that other male. On the other hand, I might be a little afraid too, because that other male is going to be in his turf, his territory, and he may defend himself much more vigorously than I'm prepared to. And so the male can do something that is almost like just something different. And that's what we call displacement behavior. In this case, he might build a nest in a sort of an inappropriate place. So displacement behavior can show up when an animal might not know what to do, might not be sure what to do. Do I fight? Do I go away? Do I approach or do I avoid? And so the displacement behavior is just a different type of behavior that can appear. It can be self-grooming, touching, scratching, and it's just something that the animal will do when there's conflict between two separate drives or motivations. So here's an example of an older cat. He might be a bit torn between being interested in and sort of wanting to get to know a younger and healthier and, sort of maybe more fit cat, but also being a little bit afraid of it. And so we can take a look at what this cat does in this example. So here's the big older cat. Here's the younger cat. And instead of just walking up and exploring, he doesn't, because he's also torn by the potential that this younger cat might get the best of him. So he does something different. He's grooming, yawning, sort of rolling around here. There's some more grooming. So it's almost just kind of like a funny way to ignore how what he really wants to do, which is to either engage in the cat or maybe walk away from it because he's a little bit afraid. In some circumstances, experience can also modify an instinctive system. So a conditioning experience can alter instinctive behavior, and we see that in this type of fish called a blue gourami, shown here in the picture on the top right. So you can see where they get their name. They can actually become better fighters, better at keeping other males out of their territory just through simple pairing between, say, a light that appears just before another male intrudes into their territory. And if they get that little warning light, they quickly learn, aha, that warning light is the sign that another male is coming in, and it prepares and gets ready to confront that male and becomes a more effective fighter. He's more likely to sort of win that conflict. We see something similar with what's called the releasing mechanism, or again, that fixed action pattern for male Japanese quails. If they learn to sort of make a connection between some characteristic of the female and access to a female to be able to mate with her, he will become sort of a more efficient mating partner because he's able to sort of anticipate when this female is around and anticipate that she's going to be receptive. So we can see that these instinctive behaviors, I'm going to go back to our little chart here, all related to this reproductive instinct, can be not only triggered by a sign stimulus, but can also be improved upon through conditioning if there's some cue, some signal that gives a little bit of an advance warning as to what's coming up. Is it another male that I need to fight, or is it a receptive female that might encourage me to mate? And so the animals can benefit from those types of stimuli that can, again, kind of be kind of like and a little bit of like an advance warning. So these instincts can be modified by learning, by experience. What we are never going to see change are the actual responses, right? What they actually do once they encounter a male, or what they actually do once they encounter a female.